Welcome to Bear Football, everybody. My name is Aldo Gandia. I am filling in for all three guys who cannot be here, at least for the halftime show. We hope to have two of the three after the game. I don't know how many times I said the F word during the first half today. It has to be kind of on a record. I've just been really, really frustrated with so many things that I saw in this game. And yet there were some good moments. And of course, Justin Fields doing these unbelievable things that he can do running the ball was the highlight of the first half. But there's a lot of negative things from the offense. And number one, yes, Mr. Mayhem, you are absolutely right. JF1 is awesome. But the one knock on Fields is that he still is holding on to the ball too long. He's got to make some quicker decisions. There were 5 sacks, and I know at least one of them was on Justin, and that was the one where there was a stunt play by the Eagles, and he had Velus Jones running across the middle, wide open. Velus Jones started left of the left tackle, and when he crossed the field over the middle, by the time he reached the middle of the hashes, he was totally wide open, and there was still nobody in front of Fields' face. He could have dumped that off. He would have had to have made some quick decisions in the pocket, but knowing that he's got a weak offensive line, he should have dumped that pass off and avoided that sack. And that sack was after an interception by the Bears, and so it just killed momentum. But aside from that, Fields, nobody come at me and say Fields is great quarterback. Fields is going to be, Fields is great. He still has things to work on. This is my point. He still has passing things to work on. Is he going to accomplish those? I have a lot of confidence that he's going to get better and better. And just like Jalen Hurts, where everybody was saying Jalen Hurts was a loser last season, and now he's a candidate for MVP, that's going to be the storyline for Justin Fields, except his ceiling is much higher than Jalen Hurts. He may not even have a ceiling. So don't come at me with every time I post something on Twitter, somebody gets upset. It wasn't Justin Fields, you clown, blah, blah. Fuck you. Get away from me with that shit. So, this offensive line, though, I see people in the chat room totally upset with Alex Leatherwood. Now we know what Greg Gabriel has been talking about. This guy has to be totally torn apart and then put back together again. He's now being given more action, and we're seeing the imperfections. He really, really needs an off season. And I just wonder if he plays a lot in these last 3.5 games, and he plays poorly, are we just being detrimental to this guy? Now, he is a former first-round draft pick who had a lot of success at Alabama. So, you would think that his skin is tough enough to withstand any adversity that he faces. So if he has to play because of injury, he better suck it up, and he better do a halfway decent job of protecting our franchise quarterback. I'm just worried that we may be rushing him too much after that disastrous season he had with the Raiders last year. He's a good run blocker. He's an average, maybe better than average run blocker, but his pass defense is totally wrong. You saw, how he was dipping under too much or standing up. His mechanics are just not frequently working. And Swanky, he played left tackle at college, but it's mechanics. So I'm not sure if he plays at the left tackle position, if those mechanics are going to be fixed. I don't know what happened. Now, there are some draft prognosticators who claim they saw those things in the Alabama tape, but because Alabama, of course, is an NFL team playing in college football, those things can be disguised even with some of their premier players. So that being that, he wasn't the only problem at the offensive line. Cody Whitehair not having a great game. Braxton Jones, my man Braxton Jones, who Danny Shim and Greg Gabriel and myself have been saying he's the left tackle, but boy, he doesn't look like the left tackle for this season. And so the next time I do one of my mock drafts, I'm going to be focusing more on offensive linemen because we just need to bring in some bodies into this team to compete with these guys. And so, the Philadelphia Eagles drafted a center in the second round this year. You know where that center is playing? He's not playing. He's on the bench. And so that's what the Bears need to do. They need to invest in offensive linemen. And this morning, Dave Wannstedt on one of the pregame shows said that he would rather invest money in free agents than draft an offensive lineman because free agents have that experience already. College football is just not doing a good job of preparing offensive linemen for the National Football League. This is something that has been happening for about the last 10 years. Offensive linemen are not being produced at the college level like we used to when it was more run and some teams had, pro passing attacks. Now the pro game is now trying to change towards college attacks, but it's still not helping offensive linemen. So maybe Dave Wannstedt is right about that. And I apologize. A lot of these chat questions are going to go past me because I'm a one-man band here. So I'm just going to share my thoughts with you, and then maybe I'll go back and pick up some of these chat things because I really would love to get you guys involved and hear what you have to say. Now, besides the offensive line and my disappointment with their play today, what the fuck is going on with Cairo Santos? I mean, come on. He has lost his confidence, and that shot of him on the sideline because of the wind blowing this way and he doesn't want to kick, that tells me that this guy can't kick at Soldier Field. And you got to give the guy credit. If he thinks he can't make it, at least he's being honest. But I just think right now, Soldier Field is not the place for this guy. And now last year he was perfect at Soldier Field, but this year it just seems like he cannot kick there. And it started early in the season during the rainfall when he missed those 2 extra points, and he's missed now a total, I think, of 4 extra points at Soldier Field, maybe 5. So it's not a pretty thing, and I think it's time for the Bears to maybe bring in some kickers and scare this guy straight or scare him out of the fucking league because I'm getting fed up with Cairo Santos. Another note that I had here, Jalen Johnson having a fucking awesome first half. I mean, this guy talked about what it would take to be, he needs numbers to get to the Pro Bowl. Well, he may not ever get the numbers because perhaps he's not that turnover machine, but man, his coverage has been outstanding in this first half. And so a lot of credit to Jalen Johnson. I want to go back to the offense for a second. David Montgomery, he really needs to be more a part of this passing game. I mean, it seems like to me that he catches 90, maybe 95% of the passes thrown his way. Let me see what he's got in the box score here. Because I think he caught 2 or 3 passes today, caught 2 passes for 28 yards. I want to see him more involved in the pass game and not just as a safety valve, but organized, pre-designed plays for Montgomery. He's an excellent pass catcher, and he's just been totally underused. And that leads me to my next point. My man, Luke Getsy, what the hell's been happening to you lately? I mean, did McCaskey come to you or Poles come to you and slip you a couple $100 and say, yeah, let's not call our best plays here, because there's just something going on with your play calling over the last few games that seems to me like you aren't really as interested in winning football games as you are in, I don't know, maybe losing football games. So I don't believe in the whole tank thing and stuff, but it's just the play calling for the second week in a row has not been to my taste. The Bears defense gets 2 turnovers, the interception by Kyler Gordon, who is also having an excellent game today, and the interception by DeAndre Houston Carson, who Danny Shimon says every time he gets out there, all he does is make plays, although he was burned on one pass play late in the first half that led to that touchdown. But those 2 guys came up with key interceptions, and unfortunately, the Bears offense did nothing with those turnovers. And on both of those series, Fields was sacked on 3rd and long plays. First of all, you should never get to 3rd and long. You got to try to avoid those situations because then you are asking to get sacked. But nonetheless, the offense has to convert off of these turnovers if you want to win football games. That is an absolute must. Then the touchdown by Jalen Hurts. And again, I really hate to question the play calling by the coordinators because I don't know what's going on. I don't know how they prep for the game and so forth. But to me, calling a blitz on a 3rd and 8, a blitz that is leaving the entire middle of the field wide open against these guys and against Jalen Hurts, who has that escapability from a blitz. I mean, he could have walked in from what was a 15, 20-yard touchdown. He could have walked in. That 3rd and 8 blitz was maybe another payoff from Ryan Poles. So I don't know what the hell is going on there with these play calls. Bears have an excellent chance to win this game, but there's just some creepy stuff going on with the play calling. All right, let me get to some of your comments here. I'm going to scroll up and see what people have to say. Let's see, Bigfoot Loch Ness. So 1 out of 4 sacks then is on Fields. Fair enough. Our line is getting abused today. Yeah, there's 5 sacks on Fields today, and the line is definitely getting abused. I'm not making excuses for the line. I went on. I think after this was posted 10 minutes ago, I went on and talked about that. Bigfoot goes on to say Leatherwood having a hard time with a speed rusher. Yeah, that's a great point because that's been his Achilles heel, and Braxton Jones' Achilles heel has been the bull rushers. So Skokes says Leatherwood would be much more comfortable at guard, and that's where he played his best football. Skokes, you know your football. He played when they moved him to guard last season with the Raiders. Not that he was great at pass protection, but he was just. He played much better at the guard position than he did at the tackle position. Going down, Brummy, how are you, brother? If they tried to design a deliberate tank, they couldn't they couldn't do this any better. You're right, Brummy. I mean, this is really a masterpiece in terms of tanking the way they're going there. Collect Baseball says Eberflus coaches like he has no nutsack and has all year. I think Collect is that might be more a situation of he's trying hard not to get blown away. He knows he doesn't have the talent to match up with a lot of these teams. Let's remember the Chicago Bears have had the toughest schedule in the National Football League this year. And the Philadelphia Eagles, as Mike North pointed out this morning, had the 2nd easiest pass rush. So, take the 10 points or whatever it is. I see that they're about ready to kick off. So please join us here after the game. John Buffon is expected to be here. I think Tyler Ellis will be here for a while. I will be here, and we'll have some fun talking about this Chicago Bears game. So back to the second half, and thank you all for tuning in.